So, while most of the world was getting ready to celebrate New Year's Eve, China's President Xi Jinping gave a speech with a pretty stark message for the future, and it was aimed squarely at Taiwan. So what did he actually say? What's the context here? And what does it mean for the year ahead? Let's get into it.
And this right here, this is the line that got everyone's attention. The reunification is unstoppable. Notice the wording. It's not a hope, not a goal, it's a declaration. He's framing this as an inevitable fact of history, like gravity. A really powerful statement that kind of set the stage for everything else.
Okay, so what makes that word unstoppable so heavy? Well, to really get it, you've got to understand the official position that China's held for a very long time.
Look, this isn't some new idea. For decades, Beijing has seen Taiwan as a province that broke away and that one day has to come back into the fold, by force if they think it's necessary. But, and this is a huge but, the people in Taiwan's self-governing democracy see things, well, completely differently. And that fundamental disagreement is the backdrop for this entire story. Now, here's something that's absolutely key to all this. Xi's speech didn't just happen out of the blue. The days leading right up to it were packed with military moves that were impossible to miss, and that gave his words a very, very sharp edge.
Yeah, the timing here is just everything. That claim of an unstoppable trend wasn't just talk. It landed right after a very clear and very intense show of military power.
And when I say intense, I mean it. We're talking about 89 warplanes. To put that into perspective for you, that was the highest number of Chinese military aircraft seen near Taiwan in over a year. That's a serious escalation, no matter how you slice it.
And these drills even had a pretty dramatic name, Justice Mission 2025. This wasn't just a few jets flying around. No, this was the whole shebang. We're talking China's Navy, Air Force, Rocket Force, and Coast Guard, all practicing how to surround and blockade Taiwan's most important ports.
So you can see this clear 1, 2, 3 progression, right? First, the US gives the green light to a massive weapons sale to Taiwan. Then, China responds by launching its biggest military drills in a long time. And boom, right on the heels of that, Xi makes his speech. It's a direct chain of action and reaction. And that US weapons sale, it was no small thing. We're talking about a record $11 billion. And Chinese commentators weren't shy about connecting the dots. They pretty much said, yep, our military drills, they are a direct response to this sale.
But okay, let's zoom out a bit, because the speech wasn't just about Taiwan. It was also Xi laying out a much bigger vision for China's role on the global stage. And this is where things get really interesting. You have this kind of split-screen messaging going on. On one hand, you've got Xi's words, saying China, embrace the world with open arms. Sounds great, right? But at the same time, what were they showing on state TV? The speech was cut with images of a huge military parade. And guess who was standing right there with Xi, reviewing that parade? Yep, Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Some observers have started calling this group the axis of upheaval, basically a strategic alignment of nations that are openly challenging the current world order. So, what's the end game with this global vision? It seems pretty clear. To get more and more countries to publicly support the One China principle, the idea that Taiwan is part of China. The only problem with that, of course, is that the vast majority of people who actually live in Taiwan flatly reject that idea. But you know, this whole conflict isn't just being fought with military hardware and diplomatic statements. It's also being fought on another front entirely. A battle over history, over the story itself, a real war of words. It's actually fascinating how both sides are using the legacy of World War II to make their points today. For instance, Taiwan's president has compared the current threat to what democracies were facing back in the 1930s. At the same time, China has created a holiday called Taiwan Retrocessions Day to mark the end of Japanese rule in 1945, using it to reinforce its own historical claim to the island. And beyond all the military and historical arguments, the speech was also just a major showcase of China's modern power. Xi was rattling off all these achievements, from hitting their economic targets to tech marvels like kickboxing robots, yes, really, and ambitious space missions. He even pointed to cultural successes like a hit video game and an animated movie. The message is clear: we are a thriving, innovative, modern nation. So let's step back and put all these pieces together. You have the strong words, the military actions, the global alliances. What does it all add up to? What you're seeing is a really complex, multi-layered strategy. It's a very firm, public vow about reunification, but it's a vow that's backed up by recent and very real military power. It's reinforced by strategic friendships around the globe, and it's all wrapped in this narrative of cultural and technological success.
And that leaves us with a critical question, doesn't it? Was this speech just a restatement of a long-held ambition, or, when you factor in those intense military drills that happened right before it, was it something more? A signal maybe that this unstoppable trend is about to get a major push forward? The answer to that question is going to shape our world for years to come.